Radio, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Looks over the middle, second guesses, fires, throws. Does he make the catch in the end zone? Yes! Touchdown! Oladipo to win it.
Another one!
He got
Another one! Another one!
Huge hole! He's at the 30! He's gonna go! 10, 5, touchdown! Jonathan Taylor!
Galloway finds Rob Finnessy, who fires the three, and
He hit it!
Now, from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios, here's your host, Jim Coyle.
Hello, everybody. Welcome aboard to another edition of Indiana Sports Speed Radio, coming to you from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios, brought to you by our great friends at Andy Moore Honda and Endeavor Hospitality of the Wow Club, assortment of restaurants and other great places under the Wow Club Network: Southern Stone Restaurant, Courtroom Sports Grill, Feast Market and Cellar, Cabello Restaurant, BB's Market. I stopped by there yesterday. I did not get a chance to see John, so I'll have to go back and have the chili discussion. We're going to do a show there one day. Metalworks Brewing Company, new addition to the Wow Club, right off of the square as well. So all kinds of great places for you to go, but make sure you go to the Wow Club and sign up. Do it as a favor to us. They're a sponsor for IU Athletics, and most importantly, they're a sponsor of ours. They help us bring you this content. They help in a big way. The coverage that we do, everything we do is because of our sponsors. Everything we're able to do for you guys, if you like what we're able to do, that's why we're able to do it. And it's free to you. So do us a favor. Just go to the Wow Club, your Apple App Store or Google Play Store. Sign up. It's all you do. It doesn't cost anything. They're not going to, I'm telling you, they're not going to inundate you with stuff. But you can order online from BB's Market as well, which may have to give out some gift cards for you to do that. Appreciate everybody hitting us up on the Andy Moore Honda hotline. John? That's right, brother. You do it. John has done it. I'm hoping, right? John, you've done it. There's the truth. Robert, down there in Evansville, listening to us. And all our good friends on the REF, WREF, always the right call, 97.7. ESPN, home of Indiana football and basketball in Evansville. So when you're looking for the Hoosier games, you know, to keep it right on 97.7. Of course, Dan Agursky in the afternoons as well. Let's see. Larry, jumping on. Dwayne's already here. 5 lefts in early. Happy Friday. It is time to rock and roll, baby. Man, Wyatt is on his way to St. Louis today. You going to a baseball game, brother? That's a not conversation we have here, John. But we do appreciate you bringing a member. You're awesome. Michael, heading to see his first place Cardinals. Oh, he's asking for seeing the first place Cardinals play the Yankees. That's a great point to bring up, because I wanted to look and see who is, we just passed the trade deadline. So now everyone is seeing who is doing what with it. Of course, I saw some grades. The Padres, of course, graded out extraordinarily well. And they're a team that they were fighting for a wild card berth. So they're a team that needed it, and they hit home runs on the trades, especially pulling in, who is that young phenom? Was it Juan? I forget his name. I have to pull it up, but he's a generational talent. What the heck? Juan Soto. I thought that was his name. Daggone. They're calling him the best player ever traded at the deadline. for the best haul of prospects ever moved at the deadline. So I guess that worked out. It's called the best trade. It was listed as the best trade by one source. Best surprise deal, the Yankees and the Cardinals, speaking of the Devils, who came together on a trade right before the deadline that sent left-handed starter Jordan Montgomery to St. Louis for center fielder Harrison Bader, who's on the injured list. So I guess that should help the Cardinals in their quest to pull in a spot. Best sellers, the Nationals, the Reds, Orioles, in that order. Well, the Reds were only second because they had sold off everything else prior to the deadline. If there's no way that the Reds cannot be listed as the best sellers on the year. My God, they sold off an all-star team. But where are we in daggone it? Cincinnati won last night, though. Where are we in here we go. Here's what I want. I want the standings, baby. All right. Oh, baby. The Brewers and the Cardinals tied at the top of the National League Central. And the Brewers traded away their top reliever. I'm not understanding. The Padres are 12 and a half games back, but that's because they're behind the Los Angeles Dodgers, who have surpassed the New York Yankees as the winningest team in Major League Baseball right now, with 72 wins against 33 losses. So that 12 and a half games back doesn't look nearly as bad. They've won 61 games. 61 games would put them and give them a 2-game lead, I think, in the National League Central. It would give them a 4-game lead in the American League Central. That's how crazy things get. But that's what it is. Wyatt says Brewers trade away their best closer in baseball, then get swept by the Pirates, losing by 1 run each night. Wow. That's karma, baby. I mean, I just never understood that. What the hell? What were they thinking? You're leading your division in a tight race, and you trade away any of your, and they didn't get, from what I read, they didn't get much in return or anything immediate. I believe. Tim says Gabe Cupps is invited to play at the historic Rucker Park in the SummerSlam Classic, August 20th. NBA Players Association and others put this on. Several guest NBA players have played in this all-star event. Where is Rucker Park? I forget. They used to have one down in Louisville called the Dirt Bowl. Shawnee Park, baby. Holy moly. But, I forget where Rucker Park is.
Rucker Park appears to be in Harlem, Manhattan, New York.
Oh, very, very cool. God, would that be incredible to go cover. When is it? We'll have to find out when that is.
Well, you said August 20th, but I can...
There we go, August 20th. So we got that coming up on August 20th. You have the Field of Dreams game coming up August 10th, I think. I believe. Between the Cubs and the Reds, which will have no effect on the playoffs, but it will be a great battle between some cellar dwellers as the Cubs, the Reds, and the Pirates all together in a little bowl at the bottom of this National League Central, just churning. They're all within. The Pirates currently have a half-game lead on the Reds, who have a 1-game lead on the Cubs. So those 3 teams within a game and a half of each other. I can't even call it mediocrity. Although the Reds have done more with less than any team in baseball. And if you take away that stupid, what was it, a 1 in 23 start? It's just nuts. Or 2 in 23. And then what they've done afterwards, what they've done after these trades, and they won, it's crazy. Maybe 3 years from now, we're looking back and saying, oh, well, maybe they knew what they were doing and we're looking stupid. I don't know, but we'll see. But yeah, we'll have to keep up on Rucker Park and all that happens up there. That'd be cool to see that. Alec Lasley will be along today, of course. Join us. We're going to talk about IU basketball recruiting, where everything lies now that all the visits have been completed. I expect 2 commitments possibly by the end of the month. Boy, that's going out on a limb. Definitely 1, if not 2. Zach Osterman from the Indy Star is with us today as well. Looking forward to talking to Zach. I believe is Mitchell Paige with us today, John?
I have not heard otherwise, so I'm going to say yes.
Just confirming. You never know. You guys have to come up with some fun topics for us to talk with Mitchell. We have to have some fun. To make it our fun zone. Start making the last segment of the Fridays the fun zone.
And soon we're going to have Jeffrey the Greek rejoining us during those segments as well. So that'll be quite the party whenever they're both around.
And not only that, we've got a couple more weeks. I don't want to push things until the end of the season. It's summer's gone fast enough. But the week of IU's opening football game, which they play September 3rd on a Friday night, the Monday preceding, which I believe is the 29th of August, Don Fisher starts his run with us, and he'll be with us for the next 6 months as well. So Charlie Miller will be coming back. So we got a lot of additions.
A lot of mainstays returning from their vacations, if you will.
Yes. But before that, we're going to get some good guests on, different guests as well for the season, or before we get back to the season. Looking forward to bringing as much entertainment to you guys as we possibly can, and information as possible. But that's why we ask you to support those who support us, like Andy Moore and the Wow Club. They're how we do everything that we do. Seriously. Leslie's up here with us as well. How you doing? Appreciate you. John H. It's a new name. I haven't seen you, brother. Where are you listening from, John? Appreciate you. Hope everybody's having a great day. Looking forward to the weekend. I am, before the time I get back Monday, or maybe, I will have been to Oxford, Mississippi and back. It's move-in time for the daughter at Ole Miss. So back to Oxford for that. Nothing will ever surpass the pain of last year of doing it. And it wasn't because of saying goodbye. It was the literal pain of moving her in. Her dorm was on the stinking 10th freaking floor. Elevators, they had 3 elevators. Everybody moved in on the same day. It was the dumbest thing I'd ever seen. It was hot. There was you're carrying stuff up, heavy stuff up 10 flights of stairs. That's not the case this year. Thank goodness. So looking forward to that. Cannot wait. Tim says Liam McNeely sets an IU visit for September 23rd through the 25th. It's the weekend IU will be in Cincinnati. Liam Neely, we'll talk about that. That is a guy that I long said that forget about him. Indiana has no shot at him. You're not getting him out of Texas. Well, then he goes to Montverde Academy, and that has changed things. I think that his eyes have been opened up to a more there's more out there. without question. Well, that had to be fun. Five Lefts lived on the 10th floor in Briscoe. Daggone it. I shouldn't have done it. My mind lost my spot. What was I talking about, John?
Now you've got me on the spot. I don't remember what you said.
Daggone it.
How about Liam McNeely? Liam McNeely.
Oh, yeah. I said no shot. Forget about it in a minute. But now all the bets are off the table. He's going to Montverde Academy. His eyes have been opened. Indiana is far and ahead of a lot of places with NIL. We had Tyler Harris on from Hoosiers for Good yesterday. You just signed a new class worth for over $400,000 to those guys. So we'll talk to Alec Lasley when he joins us in the next segment about that. That is no longer not a possibility. There's a shot there now. But we'll talk about that lots more as Alec Lasley joins us, Zach Osterman, Mitchell Paige, lots more coming up here on Indiana Sports Beat, brought to you by our great friends from BB's Market. I was there yesterday, dropped John off a hat. I hope he got it, and I've got to go back in there though to get my chili meat sometime soon. But you can reach out to him. BB's Market is your local meat shop, steakhouse, or caterer, no matter where you live. Some of the best custom meats around and some of the best in-house products as well. Reach out to them and order online. Visit bbsmarket.com. Back with more. Alec Lasley from thehoosier.com right after this.
We'll be right back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Whether you're visiting...
Good morning, Sir Alec.
Happy Friday.
That does seem like him. He should wear like some kind of British shit.
Me?
Yeah, it would.
That personality of that very British, dry personality. Come in with maybe a pipe. A pipe, and a who was the famous detective back in the 1800s or the early turn of the century and over there in England? Historical. Sherlock Holmes. Sherlock Holmes.
You think that I would look like a little Sherlock Holmes?
Put a little no. I was gonna say put a little Sherlock Holmes hat on. With a little pipe, with a little pipe, relaxing, a little puff.
Alec, this is a stretch, but you've never seen the show The Mighty Boosh, have you?
No.
I doubt you had, but you have a passing resemblance of the shaman in that show, or shaman, however you say that word.
Really?
Let me see if I can find a picture. I don't know if I have time. It may disprove my theory, but we'll see.
And we've got to continue our conversation about our text.
Yeah, that's fine. Sorry, I fell asleep last night.
No, I wasn't. Yeah, I wasn't. Wasn't trying to do it last night anyway. It was.
Are you married yet, or are you engaged?
No, just engaged.
I couldn't remember.
When's next March?
Next June. March. June. Why would I be doing it in March?
As soon as I said that, I'm like, no, he's smarter than that. Do you know when I got married?
No, when?
February.
Interesting. Was it cheap?
Oh, I was rodeoing. And that was the deadest. That was like the deadest part of. It was kind of the deadest part of the year. I mean, there was like even January and February are not dead anymore. Roping because everything's indoors. but it was like I had to find a pocket, and that was like the only pocket because it was cold.
Go to thehoosier.com and sign up. It's free. You can also find full episodes of Indiana Sports Beat Radio on the homepage or on the station every week, Monday through Friday. If we're not on a station where you live, we should be. Ask for Indiana Sports Beat Radio. This segment is brought to you by Southern Stone Restaurant. Now back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Welcome back. It is Friday. I hope you're having a great day and ready for the weekend. Alec Lasley from thehoosier.com joining us now, as there is plenty to talk about. Alec, there are 5 consecutive visits that IU hosted on the basketball side of things, starting with Jamie Kaiser, Arrington Paige, Deshaun Harris-Smith. Then the beginning of the week, you had 25 guys who were a couple of years away, but of uber importance. Probably will be the 2 biggest if they sign with Indiana, would be the 2 biggest Indiana signees for Mike Woodson, and that's 3 years away. But those 2 guys are going to be special. They already are. But the 3 guys that were in, also special, also needed. I think that they get 2 out of the 3. Not saying that they can't get all 3, and I would not be surprised to see a commitment from one Jamie Kaiser if he commits by the end of the month. But he did make that second trip to Maryland.
Yeah, and kind of early word coming out of that is, I mean, things seem to be trending away from Indiana and going more towards Maryland's direction. Obviously, from the people that I talked to yesterday, he did not make a commitment while he was on that visit. Not to say that he didn't kind of give them the word of, hey, this is probably what I'm going to do. But everything post kind of unofficial visit that he took seems to be trending that way. But there's still some time. If Indiana can somehow try to convince him to take a senior year visit to Indiana in the fall, that obviously changes everything. But coming into this Indiana visit, Jamie Kaiser was all kind of in the mindset of, I want to commit a little bit sooner rather than later. His dad was the one who kind of wanted to let everything play out a little bit. I think that visit to Maryland showed that Jamie Kaiser Jr. was the one who was going to end up being able to kind of make the decision in terms of timeline. He's going to obviously IMG Academy, so he's going to be getting down there here in the next week or 2. And I think he wanted to get that over with before he went back to, or I guess I should say down to school there for IMG, where he just transferred last month. So it looks like that one will probably be Maryland. But at the same time, you got to look at what Indiana did to at least draw out this recruitment. A lot of people are going to look at it as obviously if he does end up committing to Maryland as a loss here. But when you look at all the details and you look at how dead set on Jamie Kaiser was to go to Maryland about 2 months ago, he was all but ready to commit at the end of June. What Indiana did to push that back and really make it a 2-horse race here, to the fact that, or to the point that Jamie Kaiser still had to take an extra visit to Maryland just to kind of cement everything, really, I think shows the ability that Mike Woodson and this coaching staff has on these official visits. We continue to hear it all the time about, what they do on these visits to really, get the excitement level of the kids and especially the parents. And I think that this shows, again, what they were able to do on this visit. They just were a little bit behind coming into it. And a lot of that has to do with Maryland being the homeschool team there for Jamie Kaiser and that family. So I think this one ends up going to Maryland. But again, if you look at the whole recruitment of Jamie Kaiser, I think as an Indiana fan, you still have to be pretty confident in your ability in the staff to land the kids that they want, just due to the fact that they were able to make up a lot of ground in kind of such a short period of time.
And I've said all along, 2 out of the 3 is what I expect. And the 2 were Deshaun and Jamie Kaiser that would probably go one way or the other. If they only were to get 1 or less, that would obviously be seen as a big miss for Indiana. How do you feel about the other 2, and even all of them really for IU?
Yeah, I mean, when you look at we'll kind of go in order here. So Arrington Paige was that second visit that Indiana had. He was the one that I think, the Indiana staff was the most confident in going into that visit. And I think that just kind of cemented that point. Indiana does sit in a really good spot for Arrington Paige at the moment. He is supposed to take a visit at the end of this month to Miami. But after that, it seems like if that visit does happen, it seems like the decision will come rather quickly. The people that I've talked to around that recruitment feel pretty confident that Indiana is one of those 1 or 2 teams that are kind of standing above the rest. And honestly, with Indiana's need for a front court, immediate minutes, kind of role, and that was one thing that talking to a few people, talking to Arrington, one thing that really stood out was how they were going to use him in that offense, and that ability to be that versatile 4 or 5 man that he is, and not so much just kind of stuck into playing in the post. And that was one thing that really stood out to that entire family, but also Arrington. So I think Indiana has to feel pretty confident with that. When it comes to Deshaun Harris-Smith, this was one where they were behind in this recruitment from the start. They offered him in the first live period in July. The fact that they were able to get him on campus just 2 weeks after offering him shows you the connections that they did have and the priority that they put on him. But I think that this one's a little bit harder to read. You have Xavier, Villanova are kind of, I would say, the 2 other schools that are pushing really hard for him. You have Penn State and Maryland, some other schools that he has visited. I think Maryland could be a little bit of a dark horse in that one, just due to the fact that is that hometown school again, right in the DMV area there. Everything that I've kind of heard behind the scenes there is originally he wanted to make a decision early parts of August. His birthday's coming up next week, and he had kind of floated out the idea of potentially making a decision then. Talking to his mom earlier this week, it sounds like that will kind of be the brakes will kind of be pumped on that potential announcement or decision. And it looks like it may draw out a little bit longer, but I think Indiana is probably just not sitting in as great of a spot after that visit as early word was when he did in that visit. So I think you're looking at probably 1 out of the 3 for Indiana to land, which again, I mean, if you look at what their class of 2023 already is, now you're sitting at 3 commitments before the next college basketball season starts. And that's still a very good spot to be in. 3, top 150 kids, 3 4-stars, 1 top 50 forward in Arrington Paige, who's going to come in and be able to produce at a pretty good level right away to kind of go with Malik Renaud, if that is the case. And then you go to the transfer portal, or you go to the late signing period, which Indiana's been able to make up some ground with, obviously both of the last 2 classes with Tamar Bates and Malik Renaud. So I think you have to be pretty confident in whichever way the cards fall here in the next couple of weeks or month here for Indiana. But I do think Arrington Paige is the one guy out of the 3 that look a lot brighter for Indiana.
But the one thing that sticks out to me there, Arrington Paige going on a visit to Miami, the first thing that jumps out to me are 2 words: John Ruiz. And if you don't know who John Ruiz is, he's the guy who wrote the check for $800,000 to Nigel Pack from the transferred from K-State, the Indiana kid, back in, but now Purdue thought they had him, and boom. What's adding an Arrington Paige to what they have would also be a boon for Miami. So there's no way that they're not going to be making a big run. And even though I talk about Indiana being very good at NIL, they're not going to write a check like John Ruiz could possibly write directly to Arrington Paige if they really want him.
Yeah, that's accurate. And Indiana does it in, much different ways than what it seems like Miami is kind of doing with their NIL down there, just through the first, couple of months here of really NIL being a huge factor. But when it comes down to it, I don't think that's a huge factor in this decision. Could it end up being at the end of the day? Maybe once he gets down there and sees everything. But at this point, what he's looking for is a lot more of the family type atmosphere, playing time, and not so much just starting from day one, but having a specific role and a significant role on a team, a winning team, and also just style of play. And I think if you look at what Indiana was able to do with the entire Arrington Paige family when they were down there, I think that'll be hard to beat for Miami. Not to say that they obviously can't do it, but I think they just want to make sure that if they do end up going on that visit, that that they just kind of cement themselves in knowing that Indiana is kind of the place. But Indiana's done a phenomenal job in that recruitment from day one, or one of the first kind of high major programs to really hone in on him and make him a priority. Yuzir Roseman has a terrific connection within that family as well. So they have all kind of the boxes crossed off there and checked off. I think Miami is going to have to do a lot to kind of woo that family. And I just don't see a huge NIL check being the deciding factor as we sit here at the beginning of August when you're looking at Arrington Paige.
Well, and one thing that Indiana will have, not one, several things, the tradition, but not, you can take all the Indiana stuff and trappings and that Miami doesn't even come close to having. But Indiana, hopefully for the IU fans, they should be playing at a higher level, which will be seen. You're playing in a league that is solvent, that is solid, and it just seems like there's more to offer by coming to. And I'm not saying that because I cover IU, but he'd be playing in the ACC. But the ACC is, with all this change, man, there's going to be a much more focus. He's going to be in school for 3 years, probably at least. I don't know. I don't think he's a 2-year kid. I think he's a 3-year at least, and maybe 4 if you keep him. I don't know. Is there any such thing as a 4-year kid anymore?
At least probably not at the same school, right?
No, that's not in the 11th, 12th, and 13th spot.
Yeah, I mean, I think again, Indiana, really did a very good job. Like I said, checking all the very key significant boxes that they needed to check. I think even and more. And I think style of play and the ability to play with a good point guard is really going to be something that I think will be the deciding factor for this recruitment. Arrington Paige has played with really, really good point guards in high school and on the AAU circuit. And when you look at what Indiana potentially could have next year, if that means Jalen Hood-Schifino is still back, or if that means they go out and get a grad transfer or just a transfer to go with Gabe Cupps as well. I think you have to look at that potential, point guard, big man duo, which was a lot of what they showed Arrington Paige on the visit, of how Mike Woodson really wants to use the point guard, center, point guard, power forward, pick and roll, pick and pop type system that they started to really use a lot during the February, March stretch when Xavier Johnson was really at his best. And that was a downhill point guard who can create off of the pick and roll, but you need to have a significant either pop or roller in that big man. And that's what you obviously got at times with Race Thompson and then Trace Jackson Davis. And that's kind of the role that they're looking at Arrington Paige playing. And when you look at Miami, who knows what happens with Nigel Pack. They don't have a lot of the, same kind of key point guard system oriented players that Indiana has in their system right now. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. Like I said, assuming that visit stays on the schedule and he goes down there, because I think they're going to have to do a lot more than just throw a lot of money at him to get him to commit to Miami.
Let's see. We've got to take a break. We've got lots more coming up with Alec Lasley from the Hoosier.com. Lots more Indiana basketball to talk about. Liam McNeely is a name that we'll talk about. Someone I thought was out of reach for Indiana, but I think that now changes. Trey McKinney has set a visit. There's plenty blooming. JQ Roberts commits to Vanderbilt. Plenty to talk about here on Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Alec Lasley from the Hoosier.com, brought to you by our friends at Southern Stone Restaurant, located at Patterson and Rogers in Bloomington, part of the WOW Club. Trying their Southern roots in Limestone with their love of Southern fare, created Southern Stone with local organic food. Make sure you stop by and visit and join the WOW Club before you do so by going to your Apple App Store or Google Play Store. We're back with more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Alec Lasley from the Hoosier.com right after this.
We'll be right back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
The sun is out.
Hey, I've got those Rivals promos uploaded. Just let me know when you want to use them.
I'll probably do that
when you start talking about them. I'll just pull them up.
Yeah, I'll probably do that when we come back.
Okay. Are they both the same thing? They look like one.
Actually, it's just yes. You just need the one.
Do you want the skinnier one or the fatter one?
The fattest one that covers the whole screen.
Okay.
Well, so it can be seen. All right. So Liam McNeely. Yeah, I thought he was off the board, man. But going to Montverde changes things.
Yeah, getting him out of Texas that's still going to be tough to beat, but getting him out of Texas for high school was, I don't think a lot of people expected that to happen. So getting him out there, obviously to a program that Indiana's now had some success in is definitely beneficial. And this is the only junior year official that he's set as of now.
Are juniors and seniors the only classes that can take officials?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what's the difference between what Arrington Paige and them went on than what Trent Sicily and them went on?
An official visit is paid for by the school. An unofficial visit is all on your dime.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, and there's like maybe one or two other things like on the tour and stuff that you can do on official visits, but unofficial visits have become very, very similar. And the fact that, again, like Jim said, the only really, really big difference is, you only get 5 official visits. So you have to obviously use those wisely as a recruit. 5 junior year and then 5 senior year. So you get 10 total, but 5 each year.
It's pretty cool.
Mason is doing an outstanding job.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I talked to him. Yeah, I think it was yesterday. Or the day before that. I can't remember.
He's putting stuff up on the board. I mean, that's initiative. He has what you call initiative.
All right, y'all ready to come back? 10 seconds? I guess you have no choice. Here we go.
Or Honda.com.
Come see us at the all-new Andy Moore Honda, now in Bloomington.
This segment is brought to you by Feast Market and Cellar. Now back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Welcome back. It is Friday. Indiana Sports Beat Radio coming to you from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios. Brought to you by our great friends from Feast Market and Cellar, located next door to Southern Stone Restaurant on Patterson Rogers, offering an extensive wine selection with a sommelier on staff because they take their pairing seriously to help you do the same. Make sure you stop by. You can kill two birds with one stone and make sure you're in the Wild Club and get double points. Alec Lasley from thehoosier.com. Speaking of thehoosier.com, you guys have a big-time special going on. Free trial through the month of August. VIP coverage, everything that's coming up for the basketball season, football season, everything included in that. So go there to thehoosier.com and you can find out all of that. Alec Lasley is with me. Liam McNeely, Trey McKinney, Draw Gibbs Lawhorn, JQ Roberts, all kind of making a little bit of noise. Liam McNeely is someone I thought was just off the board for Indiana. And I remember going to one of the events up at Westfield, and, you know, the game Liam was playing, I was watching him. He's a man-child, first of all. He looks like a college athlete already. He's ready for college. He's college ready with his body. But in the end zone there was the entire Baylor staff, and I'm like, yeah, they're getting him out of Texas is going to happen. But now he transferred to Montverde Academy, where obviously Indiana has had success and done a ton of recruiting outside of the success they've already had. And with guys there, seeing kids go to IU, get good NIL deals, get to play on good teams in this environment, that's going to be a selling point. And now Liam McNeely is not somebody I consider he's a possibility for the Hoosiers.
Yeah, and Indiana has really, made him feel like a priority so far. In his early parts of his recruitment, obviously a phenomenal player, borderline, 5-star, but top 30 player in the class, and would not be surprised to see that go up the next time that the rankings are updated. He's had a really, really good summer playing up a year for Drive Nation on the Nike EYBL circuit. Really, really efficient player. But yes, did set his junior year official visit. He talked to us down at Peach Jam and told us that Indiana was a school that he was going to visit for a junior year official visit. And then yesterday confirmed with us that he does have dates for the end of September. So that's obviously key. That's the only junior year official visit that he has on the books right now. Obviously, that's notable. So you always want to be one of those first couple schools to get a junior year official visit, get them to campus, especially with how much the staff has prioritized him, especially during the last live period in July, having a staff member at least one at every single one of his games at Peach Jam for the entire week there. But that's a recruitment that I think is now going to be on the front of the minds of a lot of Indiana fans moving into the high school basketball season. But when you look at the rest of his recruitment, Texas Tech, Baylor, Oklahoma, LSU, a lot of those, I would say that's kind of the main group, kind of, I guess you could say, prioritizing him at the moment. I expect that list to continue to grow. Already has, about 24 offers out there, and that's only going to get bigger. But he's someone who wants to get to the next level, and I think with talking to him, I know Keegan has talked to him from the Hoosier.com too, down at Peach Jam as well, and part of what he continues to say and talk about is not only the history, obviously, of Indiana. That's something that seems to stick out to almost everyone, especially now that they have been getting a lot of excitement around that program, but just what Mike Woodson's done in the NBA, and that's something from a gym junkie like Liam McNeely really is, someone who can go to a program and know that literally everything that coach is saying can translate to the next level. Is something that it has really stuck with him up to this point, and that's that's something that I think Indiana's going to have the leg up with the rest of the schools when you do look at this recruitment going further. But this is one that Indiana is now going, not that they weren't before, but obviously now that they have a visit with him, this is one that they're going, full attack mode in. And I think you can kind of put him at the top of that priority list for the 2024 class for Indiana, and one that would be a fantastic addition to the pieces that will likely be around him. A guy who can play both on and off the ball, but kind of a 6'6", 6'7", kind of wing point guard, kind of point forward. If you can say that, guy who really does a phenomenal job with the ball in his hands and very, very efficient. Sometimes can be a little bit too relaxed on the defensive end, but someone who is a very, very, very good talent on the offensive end. One that I don't think Indiana has really truly had over the last few years. A guy who can get his own shot, get to the rim at will, a very physical player on the offensive end, but also a really, really good shooter. And a guy who sometimes can be streaky, but never loses confidence at all. And a guy who's very kind of borderline cocky at times on the floor, just because of how good he can be and almost how easy the game comes to him on the offensive end. So that's definitely a significant step for that recruitment, and one that Indiana is obviously going to be pushing, very, very hard for in the coming months.
Yeah, and I don't know how many players Miami has in the NBA or has put in the NBA, but that number is not very high. And nothing against Jim Larranaga, but it's same for him. And I think Mike Woodson has a leg up in that regard. So we'll see. This is an easy question to answer. I can answer this one. Chris asking, how well does the star rating translate to how well they do in college or NBA? Negligible. You forget about it. It doesn't matter, because go look at the NBA. How many guys are in the NBA that you never heard of? That they went to a school, you're like, where? Trust me, that doesn't matter. People get missed all the time. Big names flame out. We've seen it over and over. Players get better. Victor Oladipo, he came to IU as a 3-star, maybe, and was number 2 draft pick in the draft. That's what I would call a 5-star. So everything changes. So that's an easy question to answer. And it depends on the individual. Gibbs, Lawhorn decommitted from Purdue, but Indiana is pretty set in their
Indiana won't be involved in that one.
So they've got so many damn kids from Indiana. They still have a full roster of them. But wonder where he's going to end up now.
Yeah, Memphis just offered. He didn't have, that was one thing that I don't think a lot of people were shocked with his original commitment to Purdue, but I also don't think a lot of people were shocked with him reopening up his commitment. A guy who barely played for the first couple of years of high school with a couple injuries that kept him out, that also kept him out of AAU. So with limited time to be seen by college coaches, plus you throw in, COVID really disrupting seasons in high school and AAU, there was basically no time that he was able to be seen. Indiana and Purdue were kind of those two, and BYU, I think, were the 3 offers that he had. But at that time, when Mike Woodson took over, Indiana wasn't really super active in that recruitment. So he went ahead and obviously jumped on that Purdue offer. That was when he was still out west playing in Utah. Came back, obviously transferred to Montverde this past season, kind of midway through the season. Was a really key player on that team in the middle of that national championship run that they had down there, and then kind of blew up this summer. I think that's one of the biggest things as well. Just had a phenomenal summer playing for Indy Heat. I had some very, very efficient games. His ability to score the ball, his ability to shoot the ball really stood out. And his ability to play both on and off the ball and create for himself was something that, I think a lot of people forgot about just because he had not played a lot. So, he's probably going to have a decent amount of schools jump in. It'll be interesting, though, like I said, to kind of see where he does end up. I don't think it's going to be a Midwest school. I think it's somewhere a little bit further outside of the Midwest. He's moved around a lot when it comes to the high school, so we'll see what happens moving forward. But yeah, don't expect Indiana to be involved in this one at all.
Trey McKinney, 2025 guard, set his official visit for Hoosier Hysteria. This dude's from Flint, Michigan, man. Come on. There's no way in hell that somebody's going to beat Michigan State and Michigan both out of a dude from Flint. Come on.
Yeah, 2025. So obviously, a long ways to go in this recruitment. Really good physical guard. We had a chance to watch him a few times down at Peach Jam as well. But a guy who really just kind of getting his recruitment started. Plays for Mean Streets, which is a AAU program out of Illinois, on the Nike UIBL circuit. So isn't kind of stuck in his ways to Michigan at all up to this point. So we'll that's just one to follow down the line. Nothing of major significance up to this point. Indiana has already offered him, though, so they're obviously involved in that recruitment already. I think he has a couple other visits as well. Illinois is getting him on campus. So, just a very physical kind of style of brand that Mike Woodson wants to bring back to those lead guard, combo guard positions of Indiana. Guy who does a good job scoring the ball, getting downhill. And that's something that Mike Woodson likes.
Oh, very physical player from what I understand. I mean, just looks like a linebacker. I mean, that's and again, what in the hell is going on with these kids from the 2025 class? Everyone that I see looks like they're 4 years older than they are. I talk about Trent Sisley and Jalen Harrelson all the time, especially in Harrelson. He, gee whiz. But what's going on in the water all of a sudden, man? They're looking 4 years older.
Yeah, they are. I think that's a testament to at least some of these kids getting in the gym and starting workouts a lot earlier on, which can be good and bad. There's obviously trade-off for both of those, but it's going to be interesting to see what a lot of these standout 2025 kids do over the next few years. A lot of kids do jump out of the gates pretty quickly in their development, and then struggle to develop even more over the next couple of years once they get into their sophomore, junior, and then senior year. So we'll see how all these other kids develop. That's one thing with Trey McKinney that I do want to see a little bit more of, is his ability to get by someone and not just out physical someone, because that's everything that he kind of does right now. So a lot of these recruitments obviously have a long ways to go. A lot of their development still has a long ways to go. So, it is interesting, though, to see how developed some of these kids are already. But now the next step is continuing that development, both physically and with their skill sets, once they, get a lot of this attention and continue to get a lot of the attention over the next year and a half.
Yeah, and so let's see. Then also you've got the new Hoosiers for Good class, which came out yesterday, which added 11 new members to its class. 10 of them were IU men's basketball players. The other one was Sydney Parrish from the women's basketball team. But that also should show every recruit that, man, they take care of the entire team. And so that is a very positive thing for Indiana, because you look at someone like Purdue, who, buddy, their NIL is it looks like Indiana is a Major League Baseball team and Purdue is a AA team, maybe. In NIL, Purdue, and I'm just using them as an example, but they would be a AA baseball team compared to Indiana being a Major League team, and that is going to hurt Purdue.
Yeah, I think it just shows the forward thinking that Indiana has within that athletics department, of again, not just, trying to write checks. They're actually trying to put together a repeatable program that they can go back to year and year again and show consistent results. And now, again, like you said, it's something where the entire basketball team is a part of that. Obviously, the two initial ones were Race Thompson and Trace Jackson Davis to get involved with them. So now you add 10 more onto that, and it just shows that not only is Bloomington going to be very heavily involved in NIL for this Indiana men's basketball team, but specifically, the coaching staff, all the athletic administration want this to be very, very repeatable. And I think that's the biggest thing when you look at NIL, to put in an actual program to make it repeatable. So you can go back to these recruits and actually have, X, Y, and Z to show them of what they've been able to do, what they've been able to accomplish through this. And it may not be, the flashy cars or the watches or anything like that we've seen at Kentucky or anywhere else. But I think in the long run, it's going to make a bigger impact for NIL when pitching that to recruits the way that Indiana's doing it.
I know we're about out of time. What's up next for you, brother? What can the folks expect over at thehoosier.com?
Yeah, obviously we got a lot going on with the impending, announcements of a couple of the class of 2023 members. So continuing to follow along with that, we'll be releasing now that the dust has kind of settled on the class of 2024 a bit. We'll be releasing a hot board, coming up here at the end of this upcoming week. So or get into next week. So we'll have a chance to kind of dissect the class of 2024 and start to move our thoughts over there. And then also obviously football season rapidly approaching with fall camp starting this week. So still a lot going on after a very busy July.
I do believe that with Purdue's NIL comes free parking passes to the 4-H fair each summer.
There you go.
Got a smile out of Alec, not a laugh, but a smile. So that's all we can ask for. Hey, man, thanks a lot. Make sure you give him a follow at Al Lasley on Twitter and go to thehoosier.com for complete and constant coverage for IU athletics. Thanks, brother. Appreciate you. Have a great weekend.
I appreciate it. Have a good one.
You bet. Alec Lasley from thehoosier.com joining us, and they have a big-time promotion right now, so you can go to thehoosier.com and get that. Up next, Zach Osterman from the Indy Star joins us, and we'll look forward to always having fun with him. Back with more Indiana Sports Beat Radio, brought to you by our good friends from Feast Market and Cellar, located next door to Southern Stone on Patterson and Rogers. Back with more Indiana Sports Beat Radio right after this.
We'll be right back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Andy Moore. You like that?
Says he's logging on right now.
He's cool. We're perfect. He's perfect. Where in the world, dude? Huh. Okay, so all right, then where's my response? What in the hell is going on? Wait a minute.
Here's Zach.
Hey, brother, how you doing?
Hey, how we doing?
Cannot complain. Great news for you. I wish I had them in my hand. I finally got those stupid ass cards, man. Your wife's going to
nice.
Your wife will be a very, very happy woman.
Oh, thank you.
You can surprise her with a very nice bottle of wine.
Hell yeah. She loves her food. I mean, she loves her wine selection too, but she just,
I've never eaten there, and I know they have like gourmet sandwiches and cheeses and things like that.
Yeah.
Entrees.
She loves her food. We went there for her birthday last year. We went there for her birthday. I think maybe like last year pre-COVID.
Well, you can take her anytime now, courtesy of us or courtesy of you, but
all right, here we go.
I won't be there Monday, unfortunately. 0961. Cheryl Sizemore from Remax Advanced Realty. Let Cheryl Sizemore get you in the home you want today. Cheryl at IndyHomePros.com.
This segment is brought to you by Remax Advanced Realty, Indy Home Pros team by Cheryl Sizemore. Now back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Welcome back. It is Friday here at Indiana Sports Beat Radio, and joined now by Zach Osterman from the Indy Stars. We always are. Zach, how are you doing, sir?
I'm great. How about you?
Cannot complain. I know you're a little excited. The beginning of the European Premier League. Did that starts this weekend, or when does that happen?
I think the first game's today. The charity shield.
That's right.
Last weekend. There's like a sort of an exhibition match that always kicks it off the weekend before, and that was last weekend. So
for those of you that are not into soccer, the Premier League is the NFL of soccer, I guess, right, Zach? Is that what?
Yeah, it's. I mean, it's certainly the richest league in the world, and I think tends to have the argument as the best as well. So
it's the LIV of soccer.
Something like that. I mean, one of the clubs is owned by what is definitely not an arm of the Saudi royal family. So.
But that'll get going. Football season about to get going. Week 1 of football practice in the books. We're talking with Tom Allen here in a little while. Got to see less than I even thought, Zach. I saw even less because I went there and did the show Tuesday to be there early enough to see practice. And when I wrapped up and went down to practice, I was immediately just escorted back into the team room where we do the post interviews. So even shortened open practice for the media. So there was basically nothing to be seen other than to see the guys moving.
Yeah, I mean, they're definitely blocking us out of some of this year, and we're getting more than we got in the spring. But you feel like maybe less than we've gotten in the past. And it's also worth saying it's not at the point in the year where in the King camp, I should say, where it feels like we're really seeing anything overly meaningful. And what I mean by that is, I think yesterday was the first day they were in shoulder pads. Before then, that they're in just shirts and shorts, and I think something called spiders, which I think allow them to ramp up contact just a little bit. But it's not until you get in shoulder pads that you can really start hitting. And it's not until you get into full pads that you're going to see actual tackle football. And so, there's a lot of sort of reacclimating. There's a lot of maybe trying to immerse your younger players, your newer players in particular. But the reality is next week is just historically as well when we're going to start seeing, more of this, more, I guess, meaningful action when we're allowed in.
And the secrecy I'm not surprised now that I think about it. It's not going to stop right up until they play that game with Illinois because of the importance that is on winning that game. I've said to me, if you lose that first one, the other 11, oh man, they get really, really difficult. but I think that pressure is known. So they're putting a lot of eggs in winning this Illinois game, it seems.
Possibly, yeah. I mean, I've said this before. I think you and I have talked about this before, but for me, really, it's really those first 5 games. And, if you lost to Illinois but beat Cincinnati, I think you can live with that. If you won your first 3 but then lost the next 2, you could probably live with it. You'd still feel like the thread or I'm lost in this metaphor. The eye of the needle would still be narrow to thread to get to 6 wins in that event, but you'd at least sort of give yourself that opportunity. I think I think it might be even more fundamental than Illinois. I think it's more just the idea that so much has changed, and probably last season the noise got a little too loud and everybody let it get turned up a little bit, too high in terms of the volume around this time of year in Indiana, that they're just happy, that they're happy just sort of pumping the brakes, letting everybody fill in the gaps. And, listen, as a reporter, I do not care for it. I'm more but as just an observer, I understand why in this particular case, in this case in particular, this season in particular, why this is the attitude they're taking.
Yeah, when at football media days at Big Ten, Tom was on the show with us, and I even told him, I said, I'm not going to ask anything about the quarterback because I already knew. I mean, it was a pointless endeavor, so I didn't even mess with it because they're not going to say, and I don't know how much that really does. I really don't, because if they don't know the offense, it doesn't matter. But either way, I'm the same. I'd like to have it to be able to talk about it. Other than that, I'm like, whatever. I'll wait till September 3rd. It's not that far away. We'll be here. Hoosiers for Good released their new class. 11 members, 10 of them IU men's basketball players, the other Sydney Paris from the women's team. What that sends Indiana basketball and Hoosiers for Good has sent a powerful message out to recruits, with virtually every one of them being under the umbrella of Hoosiers for Good. That just has to be a very secure thing for recruits, knowing that everyone's taken care of down the line.
Yeah, I mean, I think what's interesting to me, even maybe more, I don't know if it's more fundamentally than that or not, but the plan here was to kind of build a class every spring and a class every fall. The fact that it seems like there was enough interest in Tyler Harris, the director of Hoosiers for Good, was adamant there will still be a fall class as well. I think one that will be, you mentioned there, 10 of the 11 players involved are men's players. The 11th player is Sydney Parrish, the women's player who transferred in from Oregon, the former Miss Basketball. I think Tyler was adamant. Number one, there will be a fall class. Number two, it will be a little bit more broad-based. I think that their first class, touched 14 different sports, if I'm remembering correctly. 14 different athletes across, like 8 different sports, or I think that was the number. This one was obviously very basketball focused, and I think you're right. It sends, sort of the important undercurrent message that there is this NIL support for IU basketball, and it's robust. Hoosiers for Good does not share kind of individual totals, but they will share the overall numbers. And the first class was $470,000 in total, reimbursement, or whatever you want to say, whatever word you want to use, remuneration through NIL deals. This class was $425,000. But I think that the fact that group felt capable of funding, not just it's sort of like, we'll do one in the spring and one in the fall, but also that they can fit another substantial one in the summer. I think that tells you that there is probably, pretty generous support for this group and pretty, pretty substantial sort of fundraising going on at a level that is going to keep this consistent for a while.
Yeah, and I think that's going to be seen by recruits, like I said, and have a very positive effect. On the other side of that coin, Indiana football not getting as much love at the moment. Of course, like I said, there's going to be a fall class when there will be guys on there. But for Indiana, to me, has to do something to land. And I mean like an offensive lineman, a top Indiana offensive lineman, instead of letting them go away, because until they change that narrative, I don't know that they're ever going to be able to break through that ceiling again that they broke through before. But they've got to do something on the football side that shows that they're trying to make an effort there, and not just one that's just a courtesy.
Yeah, I mean, this is kind of one of the things that I think everyone's sort of curious about moving into year 2 of NIL, is just sort of like where the stratifications are going to come, football to basketball schools. Like, I've heard stories anecdotally, and I'd rather not say which schools because a lot of it was off the record, but I've heard stories about successful basketball programs at what we would consider football schools that feel like they cannot get the support they need right now. We have seen, I mean, Kentucky football, which is, probably fairly analogous to Indiana football historically, and obviously kind of where it fits in the cultural hierarchy of its fan base, but is also a program that's been to 6 straight bowl games, and finished second in the East last year, won 10 games, 2 10-win seasons in the last 4 years. And I think we've seen Kentucky football kind of make some noise about, we need to find ways to up our support in this area. Like, we're just not getting enough to remain competitive. Basically, I'm not saying IU football is doomed, but I think there is, this all created this like really skewed market that we have no real sense of the scale of or the behavior of. Like, we just sort of threw it out there, and it was just like, okay, this is NIL now, and I think we're still kind of trying to figure out where that market settles. And I think one of the areas where we're trying to figure out where it settles is, how money trickles down, or does it really just, does it at Alabama, does it just stop at football? With just little bits and pieces, dripping off for the other sports. In Indiana, does it just stop at basketball? I'm skeptical of people who just sort of say, like, as a point of, written and immutable fact that, at a basketball school, football will never get NIL money and therefore will struggle forever. And at football schools, basketball will never get NIL money and will struggle forever. I think this is one of those things that will sort of even out over time. Obviously, on-field performance will always help. But it is going to be fascinating to see, the way that kind of the way that basically the what is the way I'm trying to put this, I guess the strategies that basically let's call it the second of the 2 revenue generating sports at various schools try to execute, whether you're a basketball program at a football school or a football program at a basketball school. But I mean, it's interesting. Like, it's Mark Stoops was, I'm reading these comments right now. He said, all this work I've done, if we don't, he's like, if we don't, and I'm paraphrasing here, but basically find a way to be competitive in NIL, he says, then, quote, all this work I've done for 9 years and going on 10 is out the window, will be blown by. He even says, I'd give up a major portion of my own salary if I could give it directly to the kids and do away with some of this. And I think he's talking a little bit too about just sort of complaining about NIL in general, the way coaches have. But I mean, if you're looking for an analogous comparison, Kentucky football, Indiana football, similar sort of tracks. Obviously, Kentucky football has been really successful recently, though, and they're still struggling with this. I think this is kind of one of the areas of the market that departments and programs are going to keep figuring out. And it is worth saying too, I think this is another one of the this is potentially one of the areas where I could really see athletic departments as they start to put their hands on the wheel of this, because that is one of the big evolutions into year 2 is athletic departments are going to get more involved. I could see it being something where the department is feeling a little bit more like, well, this thing over here, Alabama football is going to take care of itself. we're going to make sure that, that means all other boats are rising too in whatever ways we can.
How about Kirby Smart's new deal worth $112 million over 10 years? I guess that is the biggest deal in all of college coaching now. It's about roughly $11.2 million a year that he can pull in. And I think there may be additional bonuses for him at Georgia's coach, Kirby Smart. So they're not obviously having any problems with finances.
Yeah, that'll buy you a lot of mama's boy biscuits. That'll post you up at the Creature Comforts tap room for a really solid afternoon for you and about 5,000 of your closest friends. It's funny. I mean, I grew up in Georgia, and to pull the curtain back ever so slightly, I grew up in a Georgia Tech family, and my granddaddy went to Tech, and he always delighted in the fact that for all Georgia sort of took itself seriously as this sleeping superpower, Georgia Tech had won more national championships, and they'd won one more recently. This does feel, though, like, we've heard for 50 years that this is what Georgia football could be. And that department, to be fair, has been run very fiscally responsibly. I remember during COVID, they opened up the doors and they were like, we've got like $120 million in an athletics reserve. We're going to be fine because it's only going to be a year or two and we got the money to pay for it. But this is at Georgia is reflective of the idea that program is finally becoming the monster it should be. That old Spurrier line about Georgia gets all these players, I don't know what happens to them. Well, they're starting to win a lot of games. I think more generally to me, it is also a reminder, we said for years, and by we, I mean in the most general sense, in college sports, we said for years that one of the main reasons we couldn't pay the players was we wouldn't have money for anything else. If we started paying the players, the money for everything else would just dry up. And even as the money got bigger and bigger and bigger, and athletics department revenues went from $30 million a year to $50 million a year to $90 million a year to $150 million a year in the space of literally, we're talking less than 2 decades. We said we can't pay the players because if we start paying the players, it's a slippery slope toward not having any money to pay anybody else. Now we're paying the players, at least in some way. Some of that money is redirecting to them, and I suspect we're going to find that there are some other sort of impacts that unfold in the not very distant future. Like, for example, I wouldn't be shocked if the days of the enormous apparel deal might be behind us. Now that shoe companies can take some of that and deal more directly with the athletes, it's not really necessarily about paying Kansas to put Adidas shoes on great players. Now some of that can happen more one-to-one transactionally. So maybe those apparel deals aren't going to be like these big mammoth numbers we've seen in the past. I think there's going to be more ways in which the old sort of revenue sources and revenue streams that were directed into athletics and made all this money in the last 15, 20 years keep getting directed away. And yet, lo and behold, even as the players are getting more and more money, there's still plenty of money for everything else. If you want it badly enough, there's still enough money to pay Kirby Smart like a king. And listen, that's the going rate for him. He's done a fantastic job at Georgia. That's what the market says he's worth. But it's just a reminder as we keep getting further into this, we start talking about things like revenue sharing and we start getting more liberal. And I don't mean political. I mean just sort of like we loosen the reins a little bit on what's allowed with NIL and what's not and so forth. Anytime people tell you that that if we start giving the players more money, there's not going to be enough for everything else. Remember that we're still finding our way to paying $8, $9, $10, $11 million a year coaches.
Yep, and it's not going to stop. He's not going to be the last. What's up next for you, Zach?
That's a good question. I don't know. Probably just some football stuff. Trying to take it easy this weekend. Our weekends are running out, man. I mean, they're
gone, baby. They're gone. It's over. I've got to go down to Mississippi to move my daughter back to Ole Miss this weekend.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Fun times, but make sure you give Zach a follow at the Indy Star and on Twitter. We appreciate him very much. And brother, have a great weekend. Enjoy the kiddos and soccer.
Absolutely. They'll probably be awake at 7:30 tomorrow morning for kickoff if I know my children.
Perfect. So. Zach Osterman joining us from Indy Star, brother. Thank you very much.
We'll see you, Jim. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. We've got lots more coming up, brought to you by our good friends from Remax Realty. If you're in the market for a home in the Indianapolis area, make sure you reach out to Cheryl Sizemore. Her 2 decades of experience there can be the difference between you getting the home you want or not. Reach out to her, Cheryl at IndyHomePros.com. And if you're in the Louisville, Southern Indiana area, Floyd, Clark, Harrison counties down there, Barbara Pop Realty Services has served that area for 3 decades. Reach out to Matt Lincoln, Matt at barbarapop.com. We're back with more Mitchell Paige. We're going to turn the page after this. Right after this.
We'll be right back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Whether you're visiting... That's funny, Billy Gillespie. I met Billy Gillespie in a pisser one time. Hey, brother.
Morning.
Hey, bro, can you turn your phone sideways? Look at that landscape, baby. Fill the screen up.
That's perfect.
Look at you.
What?
I thought you had a tie on earlier, but it's your seatbelt.
Yeah, I got a little different background today. What in the world is going on? I'm at Holiday Farms in Zionsville.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
Yeah, I'm back for the family reunion. This place is so different. Then I assume that's going to be the big clubhouse, I guess. I don't know. There's some weird looking houses back here. I know that. I haven't been back here in a couple years, but
that's the high rent district there, baby.
Yeah. People paying all this money for a house that looks like a foot. I don't understand it. These things are ugly. Some of these. Ugh. What's up with you?
What did you make it to practice yesterday?
No, we didn't. We didn't get out of Charleston till late, like 6:30 on Wednesday night. So I was pretty tired driving. I know that.
You can join us on the Zoom at noon with Tom Allen.
I'll be on the golf course, baby.
Oh, where are you playing?
But I'm playing Holiday Farms. My uncle's a member out here, so I'm playing in the Friday morning game. You know who actually plays in this game is Helicopter Joe Hillman.
No kidding.
You want to talk about a guy that can really roll it.
Dude, Joe is just an athlete. I've never played golf with him, but
he's a freak. He hits the ball like 10 miles.
He does a lot of post-game shows with us. He's awesome.
Yeah, he's really, really cool, dude. I met him when we were playing over at Wolf Run. I don't know if you ever had a chance to go out there, but he used to play out there when I was in high school before they closed it down. My favorite place on earth.
Joe's one of my favorite people, man. He does a great job on the post-game shows and tells it like it is.
Yeah, he definitely does that. He's a good cat. Hopefully I'll seen him in a long time.
What are you
folks? See. All right, there we go.
Here we go.
CRVs, HRVs, and pilots. See dealer for financing deals. Andy Moore Honda, Bloomington's #1 Honda dealer. Get more to your door with AndyMooreHonda.com.
Come see us at the all-new Andy Moore Honda, now in Bloomington.
This segment is brought to you by Courtroom Sports Grill in Bedford. Now back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
What's up, Mitchell Paige? Time to turn the page, baby. Mitchell Paige joins us here on Indiana Sports Beat Radio, brought to you by our good friends at Courtroom Sports Grill down in Bedford. Prides itself on providing their guests with fresh, innovative dishes designed to please your wallet and your palate. Every item on their menu is made from scratch using only the freshest ingredients, and they're part of the WOW Club, which you should be as well. Go to your Apple App Store or Google Play Store and join the WOW Club today. Support those who support us. Mitchell Paige is in the house almost. He's in the state at least. He's
closer
in
than I usually am. Yeah, I was going to say.
Yeah,
closer than I usually am. I'm happy to be back. Weather's nice this morning. Supposed to get some rain, but I like.
How long's it been?
Home. I was actually just back like 2 weeks ago, but before that, it was, months, maybe Christmas time.
Months. You'll be teeing it up with Joe. Well, not with Joe, but in the same event with Joe Hillman tomorrow. Is that right?
Yeah, we're actually playing today. Just in the
today
Friday game. Yeah, over at Holiday Farms. That's where I'm at right now. That's why I'm driving, or just parked. But
well,
maybe gonna be in the same group. I haven't seen him in forever.
What time does it start?
I'm here early. I'm ashamed
I was gonna say I'll text Joe and see if he's there. And we'll have him jump on with you.
Game usually starts at like noon, 12:30, and I'm here 2 hours early. I got to hit some wedges. I stink right now.
Yeah, I did hit some balls last night for the first time in like a week. It hurt my groin. Wow. It was just hard to spin, but need to do a whole lot more of that.
You can come join me right problem. Now.
People complain about not doing this well, but how much time do you spend practicing? None. You just go out and play like you're supposed to get better. What are you, stupid? I'm like, yes, we are. We are just stupid. It's like playing basketball or something. You get better as you play. That's not the case with golf. That is not the case with golf. You don't just get better. You actually will get worse.
This is a lifetime of misery, but I'm absolutely addicted. It's pretty much all I think about.
Well, the place.
I like popping in the studio early. I always like listening to what Zach has to say. I always think he's so insightful. So I was in the background listening to that.
And you're always welcome to pop in and join with any of the guests to interact.
No, I know. I don't want to ruin. He's got all kinds of mojo. When he gets going, he just rolls, and I just like to listen. He's a smart guy. I also respect his
he's actually a great writer.
Enthusiasm. Yeah, he is.
Big time. A big time soccer guy, man. That's why I saw that the Premier League was starting, which I actually enjoy soccer now. I had zero interest in soccer 6 years ago. Well, it's probably longer than that now. But anyway, my daughter was playing. She started playing in the 4th grade, Kylie. And then it's like, whatever. But I took her to a pretty high level soccer game once. And once I saw how hard, how fast, how nonstop these guys are going, I was like, holy crap, that is brutal, man. It is not. I mean, it's like being a NASCAR driver. It's the same thing. You're going full throttle the whole time. It's like you're not lifting. People don't understand. You're doing so. It's like they're not lifting either. Now there's things like the World Cup, which that skews the person who doesn't watch soccer much, and you watch the World Cup, you're gonna hate it because all that stinking flopping crap drives me insane. No sport flops more than soccer.
I don't know. But the NBA's close. But it was for a while.
Jim, I've got to ask you a question specifically about, because you always bring up the flopping specifically with the World Cup. I just don't understand. It was just one particular game that you saw a bunch of flopping, because there's really, at least in my opinion, as somebody who loves the World Cup and looks forward to it every 4 years,
me too.
I really don't feel like the flopping is as bad as you say that it is.
It's gotten better because they've had to make a concerted effort to stop it. But
I think there was one play in particular, John. This was maybe 4 or 8 years ago. It was Arjen Robben. He was running down the right, and nobody touched him, and he jumps through the air like somebody shot him. And he even had to come out and apologize. Like, yeah, nobody touched me. That was a bad one. I'm sorry. And that's when it kind of blew up, and it got this perception that it's not physical. Yeah. But man, I can't wait. It stinks that we had to wait all the way to November, but
I just hate it's horrible timing. It's going to be right in the heart of, football and basketball. If you're trying to gain viewership for that kind of thing in the United States, doing it. I mean, I know they're not focused on the United States.
Well, let me tell you something right now. They don't give a rat's ass
No, they
about
don't.
what's going on anywhere else because that is the biggest sport in the world, and that's the biggest league of the biggest sport in the world.
And the reason that they're even doing it
the-
in this time of year is because where they're having it, which is in Qatar over in the Middle East, it's way too freaking hot to do it.
Wait a minute. Are you talking about the World Cup?
Yes, the World Cup this year.
Okay.
Would you argue that the United States is the biggest opportunity for FIFA? There's the most money here, and it's
you have to get the interest.
I would
first.
argue that they would cater to the U.S. as much as they would anywhere, maybe outside Europe, who's arguably their
There's
biggest
so much
viewership.
bad money in this whole Qatar situation that I can't really get into.
There's
that's why
bad
everybody
money
got
in
fired.
all those situations. The Olympics, every one of those committees. Every
Liz.
time you see somebody, but every one of those committees are all bought. They're bought and sold. Every one of them are bought and sold. So that's nothing.
The top line of FIFA, the top 10 guys, all are out of here.
They should call it FIFA.
Ooh,
That's a good one. FIFA. I've never heard that before. That's great.
You just came up with that? You need TM.
Yeah. That's two this week. What was the other one, John? I had another one good one this week.
Oh, I know what you're talking about
you have
Boob
more
Day
than
with
just
Bob
two.
Kravitz?
Maybe, yeah. At Boob Day, I think he was talking about the chest of something, and I said, "Well, it is Boob Day." So that was a great one too. Loved it. Yeah.
I'll show myself.
Yeah.
Young Pete jumping on says he agrees with Jim. While it's physically beyond what I would think, there is a huge amount of flopping at all levels. Yeah. You don't see that in college. Like I like to go watch IU play because they're very good, but the matches they're playing, there's no flopping going on. There's zero.
That's physical.
There's almost zero flopping in college. You never see that. It's almost you'd be embarrassed to do it.
Yeah, those guys, I used to love going over to those games. I think soccer and basketball are the two best athletes on the campus at any one time. That's my opinion.
I think I'm surprised you didn't play soccer.
I should have. If the FIFA games would have came out when I was 8 instead of Madden and all my friends playing basketball, I would have been a soccer player. It's my favorite thing to watch, and it's not close. I'd like to play it. I'm just not very good at it. I'm fast enough that I can be okay, but I have no ball skills. It makes me mad. Still today.
How much did you try? How much did you practice?
Not enough.
How much time? Much time did you spend on the driving range?
Not enough. Not enough.
Now the truth comes out.
I know.
Just kidding.
That's why I golf is I got good at golf. So now I get to do tournaments and stuff. So now that takes all my time. What a world. I guess we got to take a break here in a second, but what are we cooking today? Cooking? I don't know how to cook. I was reading some of the comments, and there was some kind of cooking show going on.
How are you gonna make chili if you don't know how to cook?
I can't make chili. Who told you I can make chili?
Nobody.
Lately, Jim and Dustin have been discussing chili on the show pretty frequently.
I mean, I don't know.
Man,
Do you think this is the right time of year, Mitchell, for chili? I think I agree with some of the commenters who think that there's no reason for chili.
Always the right time. It's always the right time. Do you not eat anything
Chili
warm the rest of the year? You don't have soup the rest of the year? Pizza's hot? Do you want your food's warm? All
I only
summer?
eat ice cream. Yeah.
That's why
How do you think I maintain this body?
With sprinkles!
Why do you think I've gained 30 pounds in the past year?
That's 3, baby. Keep adding them up this week. That's 3. That was a good one there. That was one of my favorite. That was one of my favorite commercials that they did. That one with the whatever that song was, I forget. And they go, "Let's sprinkles."
Man, I can't tell you.
You know what I'm talking
how
about?
lost I am. No.
You have me. This isn't the same commercial, but you're reminding me of the one they used to do the lollipop laptop computers.
No, do you know what commercial I'm talking about? The two guys that had that song. It was famous. Come on, everybody knows what I'm talking about.
I don't know.
Like they're
Do I
one hit
bring
wonder.
up that this may have come out in 1950 when you were in high school?
No, it was not 1950s. This was probably the 90s or 2000s.
When you were a senior in high school, Jim.
It was not
3-inch TV.
It was not that old. We were not watching black and white television or anything like that. We've got to take a break. We're with Mitchell Paige. We'll be back with plenty more, brought to you by our good friends at Courtroom Sports Grill. Back right after this.
We'll be right back to the golf club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Whether you're visiting.
Hey, Mitchell, also, since you're an Indiana native, do you know the movie Breaking Away?
Of course.
Dustin
Little
refers
500.
to it as the bicycle movie.
Dustin,
Because he doesn't.
Do we have to
I don't
discuss?
either. I'm not trying to act like I'm.
He's never seen it. He's never seen it.
That's a miss.
That's
a miss. I feel like if you're going to talk about anything,
he didn't even know it. He didn't even know it. He hadn't even heard of it.
Yeah, I mean
it's unbelievable.
Unacceptable. It's
I
unacceptable.
mean that's serious. That's a serious issue, man.
It's unacceptable. Sorry, I'm changing backgrounds. I'll be back once we're back on.
Love
I'm putting on my
backgrounds.
shoes. I'm going to try to go low today, Jim. What do you think? What's your number?
On 18
Yeah.
for you.
Mhm.
What's par there? 71, 72?
72.
You're going
we'll
to
play for
79.
probably like 7. Oh, God.
I'm going to give you a.
I'll be sad. That'll be not good.
How about a 73?
73 would be good.
First
Well,
day.
I woke up this morning and I was feeling 71. I haven't played the golf course in a while, so it'll be a little mature.
Yeah.
71 or 72
Remember
would be.
73 and 79. I hate that I'm highballing you, but that's what I'm doing.
That's what you're doing. So you're wishing bad things upon me. That's okay. Look at all this
Bad
construction
juju.
they're doing. Can you see all this? That's
Is
going
that
to be
at
the
the
clubhouse,
course?
I guess.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It's a monster. It's like Bridgewater, which is what they should not have done. What do I know?
Well, they
I don't
should
know.
have asked you to design it. You should have designed it.
Yeah, that Pete Dye guy, he doesn't know anything. They should have just asked me to do it.
Can you tell it's a die course?
Yeah. There's some funky greens. They have a lot of. This is probably a stupid thing, but a lot of Pete Dye courses have like aiming bunkers and aiming trees that help you off the tee, and that's what I noticed the most. And those are all over the place. Out
Hey,
here.
Jennifer didn't know what you were referring to either with the sprinkles, by the way.
All right. It's a damn Geico commercial. Come on, people.
I have zero clue what you were referring to. That is all time.
Sprinkles! It's just funny watching you do it. That was the best part of it.
Well, that's probably the funniest part of the commercial at the end.
Pete wants me to mount the phone to the cart.
While
Come
you're
on.
hitting.
No,
While you're hitting.
no carts allowed. We're toting this thing, baby.
Oh,
Put
that's
on
what
your
it
back.
was. Hey, all right, remember the song? Scoop, there it is. Scoop,
Oh, yeah.
there
I
it
Yes.
remember
is.
that now.
Scoop,
That's-
there it is. Sprinkles!
Yep. Now I know exactly what you're talking about.
Come
All
on,
right, with
people.
that, here we go.
Station where you live, we should be. Ask for Indiana Sports Beat Radio. This segment is brought to you by K-Bello. Now back to the golf club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Welcome back. It is Friday. It looks like it's an okay one out there. We're talking with Mitchell Paige, so that makes it fun. Getting ready for the weekend. He's heading towards the tee box.
Driving range this morning.
Driving range. Well, tee box is in the driving range, so
That's fair.
there's that. So
That's
we've got that going for you. Playing a Pete Dye course, that has to be nice. the weather has been exceptional. How about the weather for this month of July?
Dude, it's been, I know in South Carolina, we've got like 2 days of rain. Everything else has been clear skies. Makes it hard to get work done.
In the Bloomington area today, high of 82. Tomorrow, 88. Now, it gets warm on Sunday at 90, but back to 86 on Monday, 79 on Tuesday, 82 on Wednesday, and 84 on Wednesday. Tell me how much these football players are loving this.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like they're getting off easy.
I'm telling you,
makes me feel old saying it, but I feel like every time I was there, it was 100.
I say the same thing. It's like, man, it was 2 days, it was 1,000 degrees, 1,000% humidity, and I was ready to die. And I'm like, good Lord, these guys are getting off easy, baby. The weather's awesome.
Speaking of that, do we have any updates from camp? Has anybody seen anything? What do we see? What do we like?
Saw nothing.
Yeah.
We saw nothing and liked it. No, normally the first 20 minutes is like you take pictures and videos and all that stuff. That used to how it would be, and then you'd have to stop and just watch practice. Well, now it's the first 20 minutes and you're done. You're out. They literally kick you out of practice. So no, didn't see much. We'll talk to Tom Allen today in a little bit.
Oh yeah, you said that at noon.
So,
but I mean, how much? Like we're getting better. So he'll coach speak you guys to the grave.
Oh yeah, he'll talk about the defense. And he may talk about individuals offensively. Oh, this guy's doing well. This guy's doing well. But right. They're keeping everything else just. But I somewhat understand. The Illinois game is a make or break for the freaking season, man. It's hard to have a game, your first game, do that. But I think for one thing, he learned that last year. That loss to Iowa was such a punch in the gut that he said they never recovered. The fans never recovered. I was shell shocked because of what I was expecting. I was like, I could not believe it. And obviously they were shell shocked as well and did not recover from that. But this Illinois game, it's of uber importance because you win, you have a chance to go 4-0 to start the season, which will completely alter your season. You lose that first game, man, they'll probably go 2-2, and now you're looking at a potential 4-win season.
Yeah, I mean, it is definitely a big momentum getter, but having that game at home, you need to generate some excitement because I remember games and I was there.
Well, we're starting to break him up. He's walking a little bit. You're starting to walk out of signal there, I believe. So,
am I back?
You're back.
Okay, I got a phone call, so I had to silence that. I apologize. But
my man John knows what sprinkles are. He's got sprinkles down at BB's.
I'll be quick. I think if you have a season like last year where you have no fight in any game the entire season, maybe outside Cincinnati, you need to generate some excitement with the fans. You need to make us believe to get people into the building for that game. Having a full stadium, having even a 75% full stadium is a huge factor in a game like that can literally make or break your season. And to not give anybody anything, I don't think it generates excitement whatsoever. Maybe the mystique, but that doesn't get me turning on. It just is.
Well, I think that they're gambling on. Tom Allen knows how important this game is. Not to the season, to his coaching career. He can't have another season in which they're not close to getting to a bowl game.
No.
And that first game is of such importance that I get it. I mean, and I understand, because today you can't do jack without anybody knowing everything. And it gets aggravating, because as a coach, yeah, you want certain types of advantages that you've built in, that you've worked to put in, whether it's a play or this or that. And so you don't want other people knowing about it. I get that. You know what?
I guess.
I'll wait. I'll wait 3 weeks. It's not going to make any difference to me. It really isn't. I'm guessing Connor Bazelak is going to be the starting quarterback, but we'll find out on September 4th. It doesn't matter to me. It matters to me in the fact that I'd wonder why if it was tunnel, but we'll see. But I can wait. I can wait.
Yeah, I'm of the if there had been some fight at any point last year, I would agree with you. But for 11 and a half games, for you just to be wearing the jersey and showing no pride in what you're doing, that stung. I know it stung a lot of former players. This is something that this hasn't just been building since Tom Allen got there. He took the reins to a fueled up rocket ship that Kevin Wilson had built. I know that there was a lot of reports that Wilson was doing this and that. I'm not going to comment on what was true or wasn't. I'll tell you, Kevin Wilson's one of my favorite people in the world, but he built something that was primed for takeoff, and Allen got the reins, and he better steer the ship right. We were already taking off. Last year was one of the biggest. I'm not the biggest IU football history buff. I don't know about the 50s and 60s, but at least in my memory, last year was one of the biggest regressions for any sports team that I follow even remotely closely from where they were. And over the course of building something that was really not good in Wilson's first year into something that's respectable. And when you were on your schedule, you better talk about what we're doing, because we were a problem. We didn't know how to necessarily finish games sometimes, but looked like they had learned that. And to go back to where they were last year was extremely disappointing, which is why I say all that. You got to give us something. You got to show us, hey, we're fighting. There will be a different identity to this team that isn't LEO, that isn't whatever you're talking. Like, you need to show some fight. That's what the players want to see. That's what fans want to see. And I think you have to show them that to generate any excitement and put some electricity in the building when Illinois comes to town, because, as you say, it could be make or break for the entire season.
When football season starts, I've got a great idea. I think we should do a segment or do a show from BB's on Friday, and then we'll do the last 2 segments. We're going to cook up some tailgating, different tailgating foods.
Teach me.
First of all, we're going to have I'm going to teach you how to make chili, good chili. John can make his and I'll make mine. But
deal. And then I'll choose who teaches me.
Well, but we'll have different tailgate items you can bring to take. That'd be cool. That's a good idea. I just thought of.
I'll be in the building for at least probably 3 games this season, 3 or 4 games. So I'll likely be in on Friday. Let's get together.
Oh my gosh, we will be doing the 3-man cooking show extravaganza. It'll be like Jimmy Kimmel or something.
Yeah, and then I'm going to go play the foul in the morning for the game. Oh, talk about big money.
We will go play the foul after making chili. Well, I've got a lot of time between now and then to do that.
Yeah, it's like a whole month.
This is exactly what I will do. Have to do. What's up? So we got IU football. You got we talked about IU basketball recruiting earlier. The Raiders defeated the Jaguars last night, 27-11 in the Hall of Fame game, which there was there was no one there. No one there. It was crazy. Let's see. Talk about this with Zach. Kirby Smart, a new contract. worth $11.2 million a year, baby.
Yeah, invite you and 5,000 of your closest friends to the bar. Yeah, that's maybe more.
Yeah, he makes more money than Nick Saban and who's your boy there at Clemson? Dabo Sweeney. Absolutely. But and then you need to kick in some NIL money for IU football, man.
Well, I need some people to start buying the real estate that I have listed, and then I'll throw it all.
Yeah, there you go. You could say,
that was
hey,
perfect timing, John, the producer.
You could you could say, hey, we're going to give 10% of everything to IU football NIL.
Deal. That's easy.
You need to work through the football program. That's what I would do. Tell everybody because the football has got people all over the country. People may be moving someplace.
I need to see some fight, most importantly. And
you're
money
and
team. Yeah, money, NIL. Nothing can fix fight. You got to get.
Is that truck going to ever stop backing up?
Can you hear that?
Oh, yeah, yes. Oh, you're not going to get away from it. That's one of those sounds that just it's
all
meant
this
to be heard.
Construction. I swear, I pulled up and everyone and their dad is building a house and building a clubhouse.
Well, it seems like everyone and their dad are backing up.
It's the big crane. Anytime the crane moves, it beeps. That's so frustrating. I was hoping that maybe you couldn't hear it as well as I can hear it.
The other day when I was doing the show from out at George Taliaferro Plaza, I had to walk around the side because the music was bumping so loud.
Blaring.
It was blaring. I had to get away. I'm like, oh, can't do it here. It was.
I think they made that plaza really cool. The George Taliaferro statue. It's simple, but something that has needed to be done for a really long time.
Not only that, they did you see the new award that they've added?
I loved it.
What's
the kid's name? Casey.
Ace. Yeah, they call him Ace.
Really.
Aaron Casey is his name.
Yes.
Gets to wear number 44 for the next 2 years. That is a cool honor, actually. That is a very, very cool thing, man.
Yeah, I think we need to end the show with this because it reminds me of. Have you ever heard of the 12th man tradition at Texas A&M?
Oh yeah, of course.
And some walk-on kid gets to wear the number 12 and run down on kickoff.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that part.
Yeah, so it's a real big deal for this kid. It's usually, I think it's on homecoming or maybe it's every home game, and he runs down on kickoff. And whenever they would play Texas, I'm buddies with a couple people that played at Texas. And the first kickoff, they would game plan. They would get double team that kid, and another dude would just missile from the side and basically spear the number 12 every opening kickoff. And that's what that reminds me of. And that's, I don't think necessarily a good thing, that wearing number 44, but that's one of the funniest stories I've ever heard. The 12th man just getting, and you can look it up on YouTube. There's videos of this kid just getting sent
oh my God,
to the moon.
Oh my God.
It reminded me of more Chucks, of course. It reminded me of I was watching the other day. I don't even remember how it came up, but Antonio Allen's high school highlight tape. Have you ever watched that?
I have not.
Oh man. Everybody watching, everybody listening, you, Jim, John, look it up. Antonio Allen, Ben Davis high school highlights. Most of his highlights are of him on kickoff return, peeling back and just blindsiding kids. And I like to think about this little sophomore in high school is thinking about his chemistry test he's got on Monday. And then Woo just comes out of nowhere and deletes him from the field. It is one of the all-time highlight videos you just have to watch. Have to watch.
And probably most of those would be penalized today.
Oh, my gosh. There's a hit on the sideline. Deontay Buckley at Warren Central. And I asked Deontay, I trained with him before the NFL stuff. I asked him about the hit. They throw some screen pass, Warren Central does, and they meet on the sideline. And Woo knocks his helmet off and knocks him into next week. And he replays it like 3 times on the highlights. Man, I'm telling you, you gotta It's the hardest. I can't imagine there's a harder hit in all of football that year, maybe in the last decade. He ruins this guy. It's sad.
Woo!
And he would woo!
Woo peed on the dude's rug, man.
What?
Obviously, you're not a golfer. Two great lines from the Big Lebowski right there. Bam.
Okay, hold on.
Woo peed on the dude's rug.
45. Have you ever seen the Big Lebowski?
About 1,000 times.
Well, because that's about bowling. So when you say I'm not a golfer,
you obviously have not seen the Big Lebowski, or you would know that line.
But that movie is not about golf.
It's not the point. It's a line from the movie.
But you said
it's a line from the movie. It's a line from the movie. That's what makes it funny. And there was a great question earlier. How damn far is that driving range? You've been walking for 20 minutes.
Well, how about this? I started to walk over to the driving range, and then you told me my signal was flaring up. So
well, it's time to wrap up now, so that's good. You can go hit them.
I'm gonna.
Knock them straight, brother. Knock them straight.
I will. I may take the next, maybe the last segment from the driving range, and you guys can critique my swing.
Well, that is the last segment. Brother, you have a great day.
Yeah, man. You too.
And a great weekend. We appreciate you.
Yeah, absolutely. I look forward to seeing you next week. Sorry about the beep every 5 seconds.
That's all right, buddy. Well, that's going to wrap it up for us here at Indiana Sports Beat. What a great week. Thanking Mitchell Paige, of course. Big thanks to Alec Lasley from thehoosier.com, Zach Osterman from the Indy Star. You guys as well. Most importantly, thanks to you all. Thanks to John, the producer. But without you, we've got no reason to be here. Go out and have yourselves an incredibly great weekend, safe and fun, and I'll see you back on Monday. Until then, I'm Jim Coyle. I will see you on the radio.
Thanks for listening to Indiana Sports Beat Radio. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube page for more clips and team coverage of Indiana basketball, football, and more. You can also find full episodes and tons of other content on thehoosier.com. We'll see you next time for another edition of Indiana Sports Beat Radio.